together for Dan Big Cat Cat, Coach John Gruden, and your host, Dave Portnoy.
Well, they don't know his name, so I'm good. All right. Now I can hear. Can we all hear each other?
Yes.
All right. Always working out the bugs. The first live show, Super Bowl week. We are in New Orleans. We are at the Frat House right on Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street's behind us. Bourbon Street's actually a little quiet right now.
Yeah, I feel like it's building because if you're an Eagles or Chiefs fan, if you come on Wednesday, you're just.
So Bourbon Street was consistently packed, like 24/7 all the time.
They got the Clydesdales coming
I
down.
did see the Clydesdales out there. Very cool.
Yes, very cool.
You see Clydesdales? They're right out front.
I got to get out there. I can't wait to get out. I'll be on Bourbon Street when you guys are in bed tonight. So.
Yeah.
That's no chance.
Yes, I will.
You were
Why?
the first to go to bed last night.
Yeah, you
You were the first to go to bed last night. It was 10 o'clock. You're like, all right, I'm going to bed.
and it was fast.
Yeah.
All right, hey guys, see you. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You went
I'm a
to
lot
sleep.
older than you.
They're not- Anyways, we're going to be here tonight, tomorrow, and Friday. Got guests. Greg Olson was supposed to join today. He's going to go on Friday. Matt Patricia's going to join today.
See, last
Take
night
over in that as well.
I didn't go in my room and go to bed. I wasn't tired. I was scared of you two guys screaming. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. LSU, Georgia.
Dave went to bed second, and then I watched another, maybe 10 minutes of the game. And then I told Malasek, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to bed. I got a long day tomorrow. And then I just laid in bed, watched the rest of the game on my phone.
I just got to tell you what I did, though. You know, I bought Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, you bought me another present?
Well, I did. I got Dave, Caitlin Clark, high school jersey. They're
Fake.
selling at the All-Star Place right here at the Hilton. They're selling high school jerseys. You can buy Derek Carr's jersey from high school, Kamara from high school, Tom Brady. They have a Caitlin Clark basketball jersey from high school. So I gave it to him as a roommate, trying to make friends with Dave. Well, the number was wrong. It wasn't number 11, it was 22. So Dave just trashes me globally on his network.
Well,
So I bought him a
It was a global trashing.
It
It was a global trash.
well, before we tell the whole story, if we're being honest, when you gave me the gift, you have Malasek, Jake Malasek's his guy. He's got the camera rolling. They're getting my reaction. I'm so happy. And she never even wore 22 in high school. I texted her. I'm like, did you wear 22?
I don't have Caitlin Clark's number.
Well,
to call her.
it was a bad gift.
It was a bad
It was a
gift.
global trashing.
So as a generous makeup gift, we bought you. I bought you, but Jake and I he helped me pick it out, Dave.
Oh, LeBron.
We know you'll love it.
He did wear 23.
Anybody want some trash jersey? There's no way I'm keeping this. Do we have any idiotic LeBron fans? Here, take that. I don't want that.
0 for 2.
Get that out of
0
here.
for 2.
God dang.
Get that out of
Oh,
here.
man.
So a big story during media day. Not a big story. It's starting a little slow. The Chiefs, surprisingly to me, are addressing the refs. Talking in the media,
Yes.
they're getting angry, which actually I start feeling like I get credit for that because when they beat the Bills, I really went after you on the shred line. These refs, they're terrible. The 1 yard, a Chiefs player actually responded to me, stop whining about the refs, and now Mahomes has asked about it. Kelsey's getting mad about it. Kelsey actually said, they asked Kelsey, they said, if you could ask the media one question, what would it be? What would your question for us be? He said, why do you keep talking about the refs? Are you surprised that they're actually, and Goodell talked about it in his press thing. He's like, his exact quote here that we have from him, and we know we're all big fans, Goodell said, this is a ridiculous theory for anyone who might take it seriously, but at the end of the day, it's something you always have to continue to work on. How do we make officiating better? So what do you think of this, refs? Have you ever, of this theory that the Chiefs get all the breaks and they want Taylor Swift, who I love, and this and that?
Well, you're an ex-New England Patriot guy. There's a certain, I think, issue with teams that win all the time. When you have a dynasty, people are trying to say this is why you're winning. I don't agree with it. I think Mahomes is a notorious flop artist at times. But why wouldn't you be? I see it in the NBA every night. They're trying to get calls. They're trying to bait officials. They're trying to win the game. That doesn't mean that the officials are fixing games on behalf of the Chiefs. The Chiefs are better. They have the best coach. They have the best quarterback. They have the best kicker. And Spagnuolo's won 4 championships as a coordinator. I think teams are just looking for excuses to say they should have won the game. That's what I believe. I don't believe the officials are.
Well, here's an alternate theory. I agree with you, by the way, and especially like on the QB sneak. If you can't get enough not to make it close, that's sort of on you. But what do you think officials, when you were coaching, and you said Chiefs Kingdom, one of the loudest, toughest places to play. Do you think officials are influenced by home versus road?
Oh, there's no doubt. I believe that's just human nature. But what do you want Taylor Swift to do, Big Cat? You want her to date a Jacksonville Jaguar? You know, they want to be around winners. And the Chiefs, as much as I hate to admit it, are really good at winning.
Yeah, and to me, it's also, obviously there's calls that have gone their way. They've played the most primetime games in the last 7 years by far. They've been in the playoffs every single year. They played these big-time games, so their games are more magnified than others. And more than anything, the Chiefs, if you give them an inch, if you make a mistake, they're going to capitalize on it. So the penalties feel bigger because it's not like, oh, you get a penalty and the Chiefs end up punting. No, you get a penalty and the Chiefs end up scoring. So I also just think that if you truly in your heart of heart think it is rigged for the Chiefs, shut the fuck up about it and just bet them. Right?
Yeah.
If you think it's rigged, just stop talking about it and just bet them and win a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a good thought, really.
Yeah, like it's so silly to me to be like, don't complain about it being rigged. Just make money off of it if you actually think it.
I really believe a lot of it. I loved the Mike Vrabel quote when he got the job for the Patriots. We're going to take advantage of bad football.
Right.
And that's what they do.
That's what
the old Patriots did. You look at some of those games, yeah, they'll have the Edelman catch and things like that. But a lot of it, they were just sitting around waiting for these teams to make mistakes. And they would just never make a mistake. And when the Patriots turned, they started making mistakes. So
yeah, no, it's the truth. It's like the good teams will just, if you make 1 or 2 mistakes, they'll capitalize.
Yeah.
That's it.
Raising Cane's.
Wait, are you taking my pick?
I got to deposit money if I do it.
All right.
I'll give everyone a pick, and there's a little sideways. I may put my entire net worth, if I can get it down, on the Indiana Fever to win the WNBA championship. They were 6.5 to 1. They're now 4.5 to 1. I know a lot of people aren't WNBA experts. I am.
Well, we got some Angel Reese fans here, right?
No, they don't even like her here. They don't even like her here. You want to have to like her, but they don't like her. Anyways, they're making all these moves to want to bond her, you name it. They're loaded, so that's a little hot tip. Raising Cane's Crable chicken finger meals rally every fan together with a cook-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, signature Cane's sauce. Don't forget the true MVP of it all, the Raising Cane's tailgate. Cane's chicken finger tailgates, perfect option to feed the whole team. Bring home the true victory meal. Go to RaisingCanes.com and plan your game day meal. Follow along on Raising Cane's social channels for all the football fun. We eat more Raising Cane's this week. I have to
chicken fingers.
Stop myself from eating it all.
I just want to say I apologize. I know I'm on my phone right now. I'm just putting in my bets. I didn't have a second to do it all day.
Where were you coming from? Who'd you interview?
We had Chris Berman just a minute ago. Everyone should listen to Chris Berman on PMT anyway. There were tears.
He cried?
There were tears.
About what?
Football.
Just what about?
Football.
Now, why isn't Chris Berman in the business? What's he do right now?
No, he's still doing stuff.
What?
He does primetime with ESPN Plus.
Oh, that's
and he'll be on he'll be on regular ESPN after the game.
That's degrading.
A little bit. But he's a legend. But he cried talking. Well, he just finished his 45th year at ESPN. So legend.
I got to see him right after you were done with him.
Yeah.
And I got a little teary-eyed seeing him.
He cried about football, and it was emotional.
How old is he?
He's 70, I believe.
Yeah, he's getting well compensated. He's getting on an airplane back to Hawaii.
I think it's also, Dave, like
he lives in Hawaii.
For about 2 months out of the year, yeah.
That's cool.
I think it's also, I mean, it's a loyalty thing for him, which I respect the hell out of, where he's like, I built this company.
He did.
And he's been, he got hired when he was 24 years old there, and he's now in his 45th year. We were talking about going to 50.
Did he get, though, a little bit forced out?
I don't know if it was a little forced out. I mean, he did, the countdown was his show. I don't know. I don't know what the politics were.
Like the primetime show with him.
Oh, Tom Jackson.
TJ Jackson. That was like can't miss stuff.
The best.
Can't miss
The
stuff.
absolute best. And countdown on Sunday mornings.
And those were back in the early days. Early days, it's all relative. Like, I used to have to call. I would have to if I wanted to know what was going on in a game, I would call a 1-900 number and listen to the radio broadcast. They didn't have, like, the out-of-town games. You wait for the 10-minute ticker. That was the only thing you had. It the little and then the scores. So, like, to see the highlights of the game, you have to watch that show.
Right after, too.
Oh, look at this show of force behind us.
What's going on here?
Little show of force. See, this is to me big vibe feels.
Yeah, no, I agree. And New Orleans does a party right.
Yeah, 100%.
They do. Like, that's just, I think that it's, to me, it's Vegas, New Orleans, Miami. What you were describing is what LA was when we went to LA, where it's like you don't know the Super Bowl's going on,
which sucks.
Yeah, in San Francisco next year, kind of the similar vibe, where it's just like it's a big city, but yeah, there happens to be a Super Bowl happening. Like, I want to feel the Super Bowl.
We had a very Barstool moment for me, and I don't even know if Coach realized it, but so I was finishing up. I did a reunion. No, I was actually doing the new show that we have in the slot, which is Moobs, Smelly, and Ray, a show that I think has potential to be like popular for that demo. So I finished that. Coach walked in with Brian Billick and Mike Smith. So we have the In the Slot girls with the trio of ex-football coaches. Meanwhile, Coach just did a spoof video with Moobs. Moobs runs up, put a big hug on.
Oh, that's
Coach.
great.
The other guys are looking around like, what the hell is going on?
I know. It really gave my ego a charge.
Yeah.
I mean, she came running up.
Yeah, she came running up.
I did the skit this morning, and it was a blast, and the girls were great. The director was great. I just can't wait to see the final product.
I heard you were fantastic in it. I heard that you everyone knows. I think the one thing I get the most is people are like, I can't believe how bought in Gruden is, and like how he's just down for everything.
Man, I'm having a blast. I wish everybody out here could come by behind the scenes. There's a lot of cool, creative people that love sports and love to have a good time. And at this point in my life, I can sure use both.
It's the best. I don't think we ever had a hire that I've had more text messages about. Just people being like, like, how is it? Like, is he as cool as he seems? Is it like, I can't believe you're watching football with John Gruden. I'm like, yeah, I can't believe it either.
We had that this morning because those little videos of us sitting around talking about the Caitlin Clark fake, and it was also talking about Johnny Manziel being the biggest bust. I agreed, but I had so many people being like, I'd kill just to be sitting around waking up, talking ball before you even get out of your pajamas. So
yeah, I came out and I got my coffee and he was throwing stats at me.
I walked in there. I'm just sitting there. It's kind of weird to have Big Cat walk downstairs. First guy you see, he's got his shirt off. He's got to make coffee. And then you come in bitching about BYU basketball. I'm like, get me out of here.
I don't want to say that, Coach, the coffee making this morning was, I came out, okay, and I'm like, hey, did you make coffee? He's like, oh, yeah, I made it. I don't know if I did it right. I open up the coffee machine at the top. He had just stuffed like a cold brew packet at the top of the coffee machine.
That's all I could find. That's all I could find.
And I was like, what is this?
See, I'm a survivor. You guys don't know how to survive, man.
I was like, I got it. I'll make us some coffee. And then it was like a pouch sitting at the top of the coffee machine.
Then I give him a cup. I give him my cup of coffee, and he's bitching because there's no cream.
It was just a hot black cup of coffee. I like a little something to get into it.
3 more nights. That's it. 3 more nights.
He was bitching subtly. He didn't know what to do about the cold, too. He's like,
that was a big.
I'm not going to relent.
Dave likes it very cold. I even admitted that last night I was getting in bed, and I was like, man, it's cold in here. And I went and turned it up a degree, went back to bed. 10 minutes later, I was like, if Dave wakes up and sees that the degrees got changed, I'm gonna get hell. So I went and put it back down.
What degree was it?
It was at 66.
Oh, it had to be 50.
No, 66.
Oh, shit. It was cold as I've ever been. My nose was running. What the hell's going on here?
I like it cold. I like it very cold. So, yeah, it's continuing along. There really hasn't been big headlines yet, right, in the Super, except I was saying to him, Chris Jones sent me a message at 12:30 in the morning last night. So Chris Jones lives 2 doors down from me in Miami. He's like my neighbor, but I've never met him. I just heard through the grapevine he lived next to me. So about 2 years ago, I'm like, hey, I heard you're my neighbor. He's like, yeah, I am. I live right next door. He DM'd me. He's like, I know you're rooting for the Birds. Don't do it. Root for the Chiefs. Like, I was rooting for the Bills. I'm not rooting for either. I'm a Patriots fan.
He sent you that last night?
At 12:30 in the morning.
Well, these guys, I think it sucks for the players this week because the Chiefs are staying right across the street from us, and you can't really do anything. Usually, when we're in Arizona or Vegas or even LA, they get like resorts, a half hour, 45 minutes away. And now they're just stuck on Bourbon Street, and they just sit in their hotel the whole time.
Yeah, and
Lane Johnson was saying that they can't even really go out for food.
That was your Super Bowl where
it was San Diego.
Where was Barrett Robbins?
Yeah, went
missing?
to Tijuana. Yeah,
he did. That hurt the Raiders.
Yeah. That's always to me always a sign. There was a streak there where, like, players seemingly were getting in trouble during Super Bowl week. The coaches couldn't, and to me, that's always a giant red flag. I can't remember.
It was the Falcons. Wasn't the Falcons player
Eugene Robinson.
Yeah, got arrested.
Remember? But Dick Vermeil, coach of the Eagles, years ago they played the Raiders right here in New Orleans. And Ron Jaworski's a good friend of mine. And Dick Vermeil, he ran a tight ship. He didn't let his players leave the hotel ever. No girlfriends, no wives, no contact with anybody. Meanwhile, the Raiders, they didn't give a shit. Their players are out till 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And the Raiders came in loose, and they took it to the Eagles.
Yeah.
So I think there's a fine line. You don't want to keep these guys, too confined.
Yep.
You want to let them see the sights and smell the roses a little bit.
Now, the only difference being now everyone has a video camera in their pocket.
That's true.
So that changes everything a little bit. But yeah, that is a famous story. I remember watching the. Do you remember? I don't know if they still do this. Maybe they do it on the NFL Network. But on the day of Super Bowl Sunday, they. Every Super Bowl they make a 30-minute.
Yeah, those are the best of all time.
The best, and it would be the marathon leading up. That was the best.
So those were John Facenta, the voice of the NFL. Largely, you could argue, one of the reasons it became so popular.
Yeah, it's him and the Sables.
When he passed away, it went down a little bit. I'm curious. We're on the same wavelength here. On the count of 3, I want you guys to say the first thing that comes to mind with this guy.
Yeah.
With who?
I'm going to give you the name.
Okay.
Then 1, 2, 3, say it. 1, 2, 3. Dick Vermeil. Crying.
Right.
Disciplined.
Crying.
That's me. He's a big crier.
Loves to cry.
He's a passionate guy.
Yeah, he's a passionate guy, but he loves to
cry.
Yeah.
Like, just cry.
Big time cry guy.
Anytime he's interviewed, he's crying.
Maybe a Hall of Fame cry guy.
He's my number 1 NFL cry guy.
I don't know who else would be up there for cry guys.
When I was offensive coordinator for the Eagles, 1995, I swear to God, we got our faces kicked in by Tampa 24-6. And everybody was calling me a loser. I mean, it was brutal. And I swear to God, I'm walking out to practice to the little bubble. And there's a white Cadillac, pulls over, rolls his window down. He says, "Hey, Johnny, get in the car." It was Dick Vermeil. He gave me the greatest pep rally speech of all time about being tough in Philadelphia, mentally tough. And he was welled up.
Yeah,
there
he was crying.
He was, to your point,
the cry guy.
He is very emotional.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about people and winning like him, though.
Yeah.
Almost to a fault.
Yeah, no. Great coach. Great coach. Big time crier.
Unbelievable crier.
But you should have seen you two guys last night when that BYU game was going on.
I was crying a little.
It's pretty embarrassing.
I cry on the inside. I don't cry nearly as much on the outside. But Dick Vermeil, I probably know that on the interviews, and he was really the architect, right, of the greatest show on turf, right?
Yeah, him and Mike Martz.
But Martz was after.
Martz was the OC, though, right?
Yeah, and then Martz took over the head
yeah.
coaching job. What's he up to now?
I don't know. I do know he is involved somewhere doing something with football.
He went on The Stretch, the podcast Eddie Chief, White Sox Dave and I do Mondays, and then they have a guest on Fridays. He went on and was saying that, like, Ben Johnson is one of the best football minds he's ever seen.
Oh, he went on a Chicago podcast, and then the Chicago head coach.
He said that.
I mean,
well, he was with the Bears at one time.
Yeah.
The Bears are one of those.
Traded Greg Olson.
You guys have been through about every coach in the league.
And
you know who actually contacted me? Finally, full circle. I think I told you that, I said some choice things about your old friend Mark Trestman.
Yeah.
His daughter hit me up the other day and was like, my husband's a huge fan. Like, she was like, oh yeah, it's your former enemy, because, I used to say things about her dad. And I was like, you know what? After 10 years, I think I can say it was the Bears. It wasn't your dad. And because she obviously was like, it's so awesome seeing Coach Gruden with you guys, because she obviously knows you very well.
So I have a question, Dan. For a team like the Bears, and I feel like the NFL, you have the salary cap. Like, you take a team like the Cowboys, all right? You know Jerry Jones, very much involved in the team.
Yeah.
The owners, who you always blame, Kasky, are they involved?
They are not involved. So
why is it their fault?
Because they put people who are involved who are not football people. So they bought the team for $100 over 100 years ago. It's a charter franchise. Pretty good investment. George McCaskey is the owner now. His mom, Virginia, is technically the owner. She's like 102 years old. He admits, I'm not a big football guy. And he owns the Bears. And so he put, for a long time, it was Ted Phillips, who was an accountant, who ran the team.
He's trying, and he's just hiring the wrong guys?
He's kind of trying, but it's like a weird case where it's like you walk in the building, you probably don't know who's really kind of in charge. You know what I mean? Like, and they don't really hire, like, the alpha football guys who can be like, that are bigger than the Bears ever since Dick. It's just, I think you need someone who, most franchises don't really care about winning. They just care about making a lot of money and then every now and then catching lightning in a bottle and going to the playoffs. And that's kind of what they are.
It's like, that's how most owners are?
I think there's a lot of owners that are okay.
I don't agree with that.
Oh, I think there's a lot of owners that are okay with, like, hey, this is an insane investment.
Do you agree with that?
Not actively trying to win a Super Bowl every year.
I think it's so competitive.
I don't think
these owners. It's one of the few things in these billionaires' lives that they can't.
But then, how can you explain some of the decisions they make?
They may not be smart, but
that's part of it. Is if you're not smart about football, then put someone in who can do it.
What do you think?
Hire someone who can actually do it. Hire someone who can run the team, who knows what they're doing. That to me is a sign. If you're an owner and you know that you have limitations, if you don't address those limitations and then find someone who can fix them, you're not trying to win a Super Bowl.
Well, no, that's not true, because
the Lions were like this forever.
Jerry Jones wants to win as bad as anybody. He's limiting the team by being this involved.
I don't know if Jerry Jones wants to win as bad. No. Hold on. I don't think Jerry Jones wants to win as bad as you think he does now at this point in his career.
I disagree.
Why would he hire Brian Schottenheimer?
Because
because he can control him. He wants to control everything.
That's what I would do.
But he doesn't. He's not trying. If Jerry Jones looked in the mirror today and said, "Am I doing what absolutely is needed to try to win a Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys?" He couldn't honestly say yes. The only thing that he's trying to do right now is keep Jerry World. Like, did you read that article in ESPN? It was like a month ago. The Cowboys run a full tour of their facility every single day. And when I say full tour of their facility, they were saying that, like, Mike McCarthy will walk out of a meeting room and there will be people walking by.
I saw that.
He doesn't care about winning anymore.
What do you think on the owner front?
I think that's a pretty harsh thing to say.
I'm a harsh guy with this.
Yeah, we are harsh. I think they all want to win. Now, to what extent do they know how to win? I think there's a big difference.
Yeah, but it's clear you don't know. I mean, Jerry Jones hasn't been to a championship game in 25 years.
But all right, if I owned a team, and I've said this, I would want to win so bad, but I would be the offensive coordinator.
But you're smart. You're business smart. You would know, like, I'm going to break the bank and hire a Harbaugh.
I think
the Bears didn't want to even interview Harbaugh.
I think Jerry Jones looks in a mirror, and truth serum would say, I know as much, if not more, about football than John Gruden.
There's just no way that Jerry Jones.
Agree.
There's no way Jerry Jones. Everyone thinks of Jerry Jones as the whole, like, Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones, like bashing his head coaches and stuff. Look at his head coaches in the last 20 years. He hired, Jason Garrett, kept him for way too long. Mike McCarthy was a very good head coach, but Mike McCarthy's going to do what Jerry Jones said.
But that's because
and then he went and got Brian Schottenheimer. He literally went down the hallway and was like, I want a guy who will just do whatever I say.
Because he thinks and I don't blame him. I would do the same. He wants to be very involved and loves football.
But there's no way if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, there's no way Brian Schottenheimer's your hire. And no offense to Brian Schottenheimer, he might be great. I just don't think that old Jerry Jones would be like, hey, Bill Belichick, get out of your contract, come and coach the Cowboys.
I really think a lot of it has to. I work for Al Davis. Al Davis was a football guy. He coached football. He was a real football guy.
I love Al Davis.
And then I worked for the 49ers. Eddie DeBartolo was on the cutting edge of everything. Facilities, hiring coaches. Then I went to Green Bay. They don't even have an owner. But a lot of the owners, I think, they don't know football. Their business is not football, so they're hiring people to hire other people who hire other people, and it's a domino. It cascades.
And it's ego at the end of the day. And so back to the McCaskies, what they should have done is hire someone who's an alpha. Like Jim Harbaugh would have fixed the Bears, but he's too big of a personality for the Bears.
Don't you think, though, when you pay Prescott, when you pay a quarterback, Deshaun Watson, when you pay Trevor Lawrence, when you pay Prescott $280 million, you got to make this work. This has to work.
Yeah,
and Mike McCarthy, say what you want. He was 12-5 and 12-5.
I agree.
And Prescott played good to earn that contract.
Right.
Now, getting rid of Mike McCarthy was a surprise to me.
Me too.
But at least Schottenheimer has dealt with Prescott.
Agreed.
They just paid C.D. Lamb, Big Cat.
But they didn't do a coaching search. It's and Brian Schottenheimer, again, could work out great. You never know. Everyone bashed the Dan Campbell hire. My point is, Brian Schottenheimer is safe for Jerry Jones.
Yeah, but
he wants a safe guy who he knows that he's not going to hire someone who's bigger. Ever since he had Parcells, he has not hired someone who's a bigger personality than Jerry Jones.
Because that, I believe, is his ego, and he wants to be, when they win the Super Bowl, which who knows, he wants the credit.
Of course, but there's no way they haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't been to a championship game in 25 years.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are the perfect combo of chocolate and peanut butter. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups may even be more perfect. The layer of ooey gooey delicious chocolate lava. You can buy Reese's Cups basically anywhere. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups will be featured in the big game. It's lava time, baby. Try Reese's new delicious chocolate lava big cup. They dropped this jacket off. It's a little bit hot for New Orleans, but this is a sharp jacket. Oh, I didn't even see the back. That's unbelievable.
That is sick. That's very sick.
And it has your name on the front?
Yeah.
By the way,
Prez, look at this.
You could get rid of that $300 jacket you bought last night.
That jacket has gotten so many rave reviews. Starter Jacket made a commercial out of it. He paid her.
There's some behind-the-scenes thing.
There isn't.
Yeah, there is. Let me tell you, last night, he goes into Starter, and I love Starter gear. He goes in there and buys the ugliest jacket. Nobody in this restaurant would wear it.
It's beautiful.
So he's walking up to the event last night, and I'm kind of busting his chops. That's the worst jacket I've ever seen. Don't go in there looking like that.
Yeah.
And as soon as I finish my sentence, within the second, these two pretty girls go, Dave, we're stylists. We love your jacket. I'm like, yeah, nice try, Dave. Like, I'm that stupid.
It's a great jacket. They made a legit commercial out of it for it. It is a spectacular jacket. You know who runs?
This is a spectacular jacket.
You know who runs Starter?
Who?
Carl Banks.
Yeah.
The ex-Giant?
Yeah, the ex-Giant.
Yeah. They make awesome.
So you've been insulted. He's probably got you on a list. Right?
I'm on a lot of people's lists.
I stand by that jacket. I thought that was a great jacket.
But, by the way, to end that debate, I think what I should have said is every owner probably wants to win. I think there's only a handful of NFL teams that are doing what it takes to win year in and year out, consistently. Jerry Jones is not in the bucket of doing what it takes to win year.
I guess we're answering it different ways, because I would say Jerry Jones wants to win.
He wants, but he's not doing what it takes.
Yeah, and that's because he wants to be involved. Like, I remember I sat down with Robert Kraft quite a bit in conversations that you'd have privately. The competitiveness, the pettiness, the jealousy amongst the owners is pretty strong.
But him firing Gerard Mayo and hiring Mike Vrabel is doing what it takes to win.
It's the right move, but
that's a hard move to make because there's a lot of guys who like, a year. You can't give a guy only 1 year.
You could have argued, and I love Mr. Kraft. Obviously, you could argue the way the end of the dynasty kind of crumbled, the Belichick and all that. So you can argue. I think most owners are such egomaniacs, and you have to be that successful, basically, in life. And this is something you can't buy. You can't buy a Super Bowl. You got to win it.
Yeah.
And they may not know how to do it, but I think Jerry Jones really thinks he can do it the best.
Can't.
I don't mind Jerry Jones personally. I know a lot of Sean Payton. I was with him last night. He was the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys when Bill Parcells was there. I know a lot of guys that have worked for Jerry. Jerry runs the team. And I don't blame him. But if I ran the team, if I spent all the money to own the team, I'd want to run the damn team.
That's what I would.
I'm different. I would want to hire the smartest guy.
I promise you, he wants to win.
I'd hire the smartest guy I could find to run that.
I'd have this guy as the head coach.
You don't like coaches. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I'd want to win, but I know that I'm an idiot.
What coaches do you like? Who are your top 3 coaches right now outside of Andy Reid? Who are the top 3 guys?
Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Dan Campbell, Andy Reid, obviously. I think Nick Sirianni's a very good coach. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. He's won 70% of his games in the NFL.
After that, you can't. You'll go Harbaugh brothers, and you'll.
Yeah, well, the Harbaugh. I mean, I love Jim Harbaugh. I think Kevin Stefanski's a very good coach. I do. And I think he's gotten a bad deal. I think Matt LaFleur's a good coach.
He was also the leader of the
Kevin O'Connell's a good coach.
To the Chargers coach who got fired after 3 seconds.
Yeah.
He loved that guy.
Yeah, Brandon Staley. Yeah, but no. And Matt Patricia, he can attest to this. What's up, Coach? He can attest to this. We're talking about Brandon Staley. I liked Brandon Staley year 1. Brandon Staley got bullied by the league and everything, and he changed what he did.
Why will Matt?
Just because he knows. No, I'm saying he knows what it takes to coach in the NFL and how hard it is. Brandon Staley went into the Chargers doing one thing, and then he changed what he did, and he basically was Dan Campbell year 1, and then stopped being Dan Campbell.
Can I ask the $1 million question here? And I don't mean I love you. You know I love you.
I know. Hey, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to see you, bro. It's so good. My God.
So we've gone way back, the Patriot Dynasty days, the parties after the Super Bowl. Yeah. I told you I consider myself, I have 6 rings. He debates whether I have them. I say I have them. So
all of them.
This don't take it because I love you.
Whoa. We got to go back to peddling papers at South Station.
The whole works.
All the way back. That's how long ago it was.
Your wife wearing the bedazzled jacket at the Super Bowl.
What's the punchline here?
I got like a big butt coming.
This is a big butt, but I feel close. What were we doing when you were the offensive coordinator, when you're a defensive coordinator your whole career?
Yeah,
the most mind-boggling.
Yeah.
What was that?
I love it. So it's good to be in New Orleans. Good to see you.
Easy question to start.
I have it
right into the fire right away.
Wait,
go back to what you were saying about the defense. Defense was good.
I love it. I'll swear by you.
We had some defensive
Belichick.
battles.
Yes, we did. I tell you, I'll answer the question. All these defensive guys, they think they know everything. So I know it. Belichick and Patricia, they're like, our offense sucks. I'll just call the plays. Anybody can call the plays. That's what happened, isn't it?
Listen, you got it. You know
exactly.
that. You know how it is.
Listen, I always tell people.
Wait, the only thing I got to say is I'm just, and obviously that was, oh my gosh, what are we doing, right? But
I was telling him like he's an astrophysicist. Yeah. Don't worry about it. He's got it under control.
Yeah, no doubt. Almost completely. Yeah, that was interesting, right? That was definitely interesting. But I do think, though, I'm just going to say this. I don't think it was better the next year, right?
No, it's been bad.
So
it's been bad all the way around.
So, maybe we can let me off the hook here a little bit. All I actually did was just call the plays. But everything was already.
I'm more curious because maybe I'm not remembering it. A guy who is a defensive guy flipping, has that happened before?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So I've done, let me see, what have I done in the NFL right now? Head coach, GM, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. That's what I've done in the NFL. It's kind of crazy. That's a crazy ride, right? That's a crazy ride.
So how did that come, how does it go?
That's a really good story. So defensively, Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's just talk defense.
You know what, though? I think you guys had the best offensive line coach in the league.
We did.
Dante Scarnecchia.
And who's the best offensive line coach now? It's the Eagles. Stoutland.
Who I worked with Stoutland at Syracuse.
And Andy Heck for the Chiefs.
Yeah,
great.
That's the common denominator.
And
I don't care who calls the plays. You can bring Bill Walsh back. Joe Gibbs could walk in here.
Yeah.
The offensive line coach is the most important hire you're going to make as a head coach.
Yep.
And when Scarnecchia left the Patriots, the way the offensive line has developed and the versatility, you can't even imagine what Dante Scarnecchia, he quit one time. And the Patriots,
we brought him back. We sucked him back in.
They brought him back, and they just went right back to the Super Bowl. And I guarantee if you had Edelman, if you had Brady, if you had any of them in here, like Garrett Brunt, they will tell you that Dante Scarnecchia was the winning edge for us.
Yeah.
And you remember, like, when I went to New England, I went as an offensive assistant O-line coach. I worked with Scar. That was my first job in New England for 2 years because I had come from Syracuse University where I worked with George DeLeon, who was a great offensive line coach in college. And so originally when I went to New England was on the offensive side of the ball. Charlie Weiss was the offensive coordinator. I was Dante's assistant for 2 years. You know, it was awesome. That was like the...
How do you feel watching this team, Chiefs? That's a big comparison, obviously, now.
Yeah.
Chiefs dynasty, Patriots dynasty. Similarities. If you guys played each other, you did towards the end.
Yeah.
We beat them.
Yeah.
Like, we did.
You're up late.
We did.
We did.
Well, yeah.
We did.
And then Brady beat them with Tampa, which I guess we don't get credit for theoretically.
You can take credit.
Yeah. What do you see? Obviously, the coach, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Similarities. What do you think about comparing the two?
I don't really like to compare all of those. You know, I think one of the things, I'm going to get this wrong, but I saw it recently. I know Patrick Mahomes is number 2 in playoff wins, but I still think Tom is almost double that. You know how crazy that is? Like how many playoff wins like Tom Brady has? Like that's incredible.
And Brady had 2 iterations. Like the Patriots won the first with a different group of guys.
Yep.
And then a whole new group of guys came back.
Which is a great story because actually when we were in the process of trying to rebuild the team after the first decade of wins, we had to completely redo it. And we did it in stages, you know, so certainly the defense, like my old heads when I coached the linebackers was like Bruschi, Sayal, McGinnis, Colvin, like Larry Izzo. And then the defensive guys, they just, you know, it was a decade of winning. And then we had to do it again. And so we drafted McCourty and we got Chung. And then I got, you know, Hightower and Jamie Collins and Chandler Jones as young players, developed them. So it took us, it was a similar path, but it took us the same amount of time. So we went to like 8 straight AFC championship games. Like, that's crazy. But if you think about it, like 0-1, all right, Patriots, we win. You know, in 11, we lost, but it's still the next decade, it's still a Super Bowl team. Don't go back in 12, 13, we lose in the AFC championship game. 14, we win. We had 1 in 03 and 04, you know, and then it's like you're just building those young guys and going. So, and the offense was on a little bit of a different path where they had to kind of turn over their skill personnel. They went to 12, got Gronk, got the tight ends, and went.
And it also, this Chiefs team, it's pretty crazy that they've already turned over a lot of their stuff, too. Like, the 22 draft class, Karlaftis, McDuffie, you know, Leo Chenal, they haven't lost a playoff game. And, like, they've just been hitting on their draft. Because that's the thing is, like, you have to just keep hitting on your draft picks. When you have Mahomes, like, you know you're going to pay him a lot. You don't have a margin for error when it comes to draft picks.
They've won 9 straight playoff games. If they win the Super Bowl, that's 10. That'll tie the Patriots' all-time record. Now, Pat Mahomes, let me say this about winning and production. He wins this game. That's 4 world championships, 2 MVPs. He'll be the only NFL player to ever do it before 30 years old. The man's not even 30.
It's nuts.
And they have won 17 straight games they've won, 1-score games. They have a great kicker. Vinatieri blew my brains out. Forget about Brady and all your names. That goddamn kicker blew my face off. He blew off. He kicked Carolina's ass. I mean, the kicker, Harrison Butker, is the all-time accurate field goal kicker in NFL history. He's 36 out of 40. He's an assassin.
We have that picture from the Tuck Rule game.
Yeah,
you can't even see John's face. It's just he's covered in a snow globe watching the ball go through the uprights. I try to bring it up once a week at least.
Yeah.
All right, Mountain Dew. in a blast of refreshing tropical lime flavor to your game with Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Mountain Dew Baja Blast is part of my game day ritual. Tropical lime flavor Mountain Dew Baja Blast is as refreshing as hitting a parlay. So delicious, so refreshing, so perfect for game day. Ride the Baja wave on game day. Grab Mountain Dew Baja Blast for you and your crew wherever refreshing beverages are sold. I got to ask you, you know him as well as anybody. Belichick at UNC. I heard whispers of it. I would have never guessed it.
Yeah, I got to hear this.
What, like, were you stunned? Like, do you think? I mean, that recruiting grind.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I probably got a lot. It's probably interesting. No, I mean, look, it's going to be great for that school, great for those kids. I think college football, to have him go to college football and be able to teach those kids, I mean, that's going to be amazing. A little bit of a left turn, maybe, from where, we thought
it was going to. All-time winningest head coach in NFL history.
Do you think he'll be back in the league?
I mean, you never know with Bill, but, I mean, if you asked me, I'd say yes. I'd say yes.
If he asked, I don't know. He may have. Would you go to coach college?
College football is pretty interesting right now. I really think where they're headed with, the amount of money that they're going to have, basically what's called a salary cap, plus the NIL, plus, I mean, every day, this is the tricky part. Every day is free agency. That's the hard part, right? Every day you can either acquire or lose guys. You got to recruit your own first. But I do think you can build a roster faster in college than you can right now in the pros. I think you can get better players quicker and kind of go on a run and win. So I think that's really intriguing. And I do think in college right now, you are spending more time with the kids and you are developing more players. And I think that's going to be his sell, right? It's got to be.
Yeah.
You want to play at the NFL?
Yeah.
Come learn from me. I'll help you get to the NFL. Who wouldn't want to do that from the greatest of all time?
It's going to be an interesting team to watch, that's for sure. You never know. I mean, Bill Belichick is the UNC.
Yeah.
Not exactly a football factory.
Great colors, though.
Right? Not for football.
Still great colors.
Soft.
I hope Wake
Baby
Forest.
soft.
Why do you
hope Wake Forest beats them?
I do.
Why?
Because I never liked the Patriots. I hope they lose every game.
By the way, they want us to hit the DraftKings one more time. DraftKings, use code RADIO. $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5 using code RADIO. You can check out all the Super Bowl markets. We also have a free-to-play pool for Barstool Skills Challenge tonight. $5,000 free-to-play pool tied to the Barstool Skills Challenge on Wednesday night. So go check it out right now. Use code RADIO when you sign up. $5, bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets. I got a question for you, Coach. Vic Fangio, 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes. Is this a situation where he goes in and being like, I got to try something different? Or is he like, my guys are, this Eagles defense is better than the defense I had with the Broncos and the Dolphins. Just let them play. Or is he in his head like, I got to show him something that he is not expecting?
Yeah, I don't think you get away from what you're doing and what got you here. This team right now, the Eagles, where they are is different than any other team the Eagles have had or any other team Vic Fangio's coached. So stay within what you're doing, what's allowing you to win. The biggest thing for him is you just got to understand, how is Kansas City winning?
Right.
To Coach's point, Patrick Mahomes, this guy is winning in a different way, and that's what's baffling everybody, right? Everyone's like, how do they turn the ball over and still win? How do they play, sloppy in these categories and still win? You really got to break it down and say, well, how were they winning? They're winning on third down. They're the best team in the league on third down right now. So they're keeping the drives alive. They're extending the series. They're keeping the other offense off the field. They score in the red area. Pat Mahomes on the second play. You got to defend the first play. Don't try to defend the second play. Let him out of the pocket. Let him do what he does. You're going to get beat. And then the best thing they do is the second quarter and the fourth quarter. Those situational plays, they're playing at a high level. So I think you do what you do if you're Vic. You defend what what you need to stop, but you concentrate on those categories. Don't worry about the turnover in the first quarter. It's not going to make a difference in the game.
Right.
Whereas a lot of games it will, it's not with this team.
Right.
Don't worry about the fact they don't control the game with the running game, because Pat Mahomes' scrambles controls the game.
Yep.
The other thing is the hidden yardage in the return game by Kansas City. That's where they're controlling the game. You want to control the game, you got to stop the run. You got to run the ball, stop the run, and cover kicks. They're stopping the run and they're covering kicks. We'll see if they can stop Philly's run game, but that's what Vic's got to play.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup.
What is this, Matt? It's on our sheet here. When Belichick was on the Manning cast, he held up his notes, and it appeared to be a printed email from you.
I mean, my biggest concern right there was like,
oh no! Did you get a bunch of emails?
My biggest concern was like, is he showing my email right now? Like,
no!
Put it down. I'm like, I'm on. I'm like, hey, put it down. Like, put it down. Yeah.
So,
was that great? We did all the Manning casts this year, so that was a lot of fun.
That's
Big
awesome.
Cat, when I was coaching the Raiders, we had some great battles with Andy Reid in Kansas City.
Yeah.
They had the most feared deep ball receiver in the league in Tyreek Hill. I mean, they were throwing bombs, and they would score fast. And they had a lot of weapons to get down the field, and they had a great offensive line. Now they got their four-string left tackle playing. Joe Tooney is a guard playing left tackle. They got their backup left guard. So I did this study, and I'm not into all these stats like you Patriots. But in two postseason games, Kansas City has only thrown 7 passes over 10 yards. That's not even to the end of the bar.
Yeah.
They're throwing the ball sideways.
Yeah.
27% of Pat Mahomes' passes this year are at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So they're negating the pass rush, and they're going to force you to make open field tackles.
And you know better than anybody because this is your tree. You know, this is where, you know, you're the expert 100%. And I love the West Coast history. But the catch and run plays that Andy has been able to create, the picks and the rubs, I call them picks, you call them rubs, you know, but those catch and run plays, they're impossable to stop.
Yeah.
That's where they
and you've seen it with Xavier Worthy, because Xavier Worthy, you know, he kind of got thrust into it with Rashee Rice getting hurt.
That's right.
But if you look at his targets towards the end of the season, he's now getting targeted 8-9 times. A lot of it is behind the line of scrimmage, your favorite bubble screens.
Don't you love the bubble screens? I mean, I was up in Kansas City for training camp for 5 days. And I saw Worthy and Hollywood Brown, and I thought Worthy was going to be Andy Reid's Deshaun Jackson, who he had in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Remember all the bombs they would throw to him? Well, they haven't done that. He has adapted his whole offense because of the injuries up front, and it's a credit to him. No one can do it better. I promise you this. Fangio's got to do something. And I know Andy Reid's got some plays. He showed all year. He's got some stuff for
They remind me, that's why they do remind me of the Patriots. And I say this in a way, the Patriots to me, during all their success, was sort of like an amoeba. Like you never knew what type of game you were going to get in. If it turned into a shootout, they'd figure out a way to beat a shootout. You look at the Super Bowl Rams, nobody scores. They they would adapt.
The best coach.
They would adapt as the game's going, and it's like you're whatever type of game it was in. It's like, okay, we can play this game, and that's what the Chiefs did.
Saban in Alabama.
But you nailed it, though. I mean, like coaching wise, like Andy, Spack, like their experience coaching wise is what their adjustments. That's where they get a huge edge.
Yeah.
And you know, they've created the same. We talk about this all the time in New England. We had a little bit of a mystique, right? We didn't really say much. Not much got out of the building. It kind of like we would watch the opponent, and you'd know at one point the opponent's like, all right, we're going to, you know, it's our best shot. But then you'd see that little bit of doubt. We'd score, something would happen. You'd see that little bit of doubt creep into your opponent's head, and you'd be like, we got him. We got him. And Kansas City has
It's the AFC Championship game last year with the Ravens. The Ravens were down 10, and they panicked and stopped running the ball. Like that is directly correlated to the Chiefs and being like, oh shit, we're down 10 to the Chiefs. Like, stick with your run, stick with what you do. Don't let them dictate it. Yeah, they're an incredible team.
And what we said before he got here, let bad football. Let the other team make the mistake, and you play your solid way. Vrabel said it when he got there. He said, we're gonna build this team so we can take advantage of bad football.
Well, we'd say all the time, there's two things we say. Number one, in the NFL, more games are lost than won. That's 100%. Fact. And we would be on a crusade to eliminate bad football. Those were the two sayings in the belt. It was a crusade to eliminate bad football. And that's how the season would play out. You know, in the beginning part of the year, it'd be a lot of bad football. I mean, both teams stink. Training camp's too short. We're not really playing well. And there'd be a situational play that wins the game. Then as the season goes, your team hopefully is getting better. Some of the other teams are staying the same. You're eliminating some of the bad football. And then when you get to the end of the year, the good teams are killing the bad teams. They're still playing bad. And then good team versus good team, it's going to be some situational play that wins it in the end. And we got two really good teams, and a situational play will win it.
Let me ask him this question about Saquon Barkley, because I coached Ricky Waters. We had a good running game in Philly, but this guy's phenomenal. Now, they have the components to really be unstoppable running the ball. They have the great back. They have an unbelievable offensive line. I mean, these guys will maul you, man.
Huge.
I got some cut-ups at home. My wife is like, what are you screaming at? I'm watching the Eagles. They're smashing guys. So they got the linemen. They got the running back. They have Jeff Stoutland, and they have a great game plan. They can pull Lane Johnson. They can run trap plays, wham plays. They have a very diverse running game. That's the third thing. And then they have Jalen Hurts. If he pulls that ball, The linebacker, the defensive end, that backside safety, somebody better be standing right there.
Yeah.
So he neutralizes the backside. They can't chase Barkley. And then if you gang up on him, there's freaking A.J. Brown over there.
Yeah.
And Devontae Smith.
Smitty,
Throw
Goddard.
it over your head. So I think Kansas City, how would you defend
This guy
all
talks
those?
up the Eagles so much, and
Hey,
then he says,
I
then
know.
everybody.
I know.
Last night,
I
yeah.
have time to change my mind. You don't make your bet until Saturday, Dave.
right.
How much do I
That's
have to teach you guys that? What would you do to stop Barkley, Hurts in this running game?
I mean, give Howie Roseman all the credit for building an offense. It's like almost impossible to stop defensively. But you got to take the number one thing, and the number one thing is Barkley. You know, Jeff Stoutland, I coached with him at Syracuse University back in the day when I was on offense, and he's a phenomenal coach. They're huge. Those guys are huge now. Lane Johnson, those guys are
he's a
giant.
monster.
Jordan, those guys
and he's
are.
not even the biggest.
Jordan is
Yeah.
I got a
ginormous.
picture with my on the street.
I saw that.
I
It
didn't
was
even
like,
want to post it.
yeah.
I was so embarrassed. I looked like a dwarf. But, you know, I know you said stop Barkley.
Yeah.
How? How do you stop him?
I think one of the things that, you got to be able to do, and Spags will do a great job of this, is there's some formation things here that you can tap into, right? So you can bring some pressures over the back. You can use blitz, the formation type of calls, and really force where you want the ball to go. Now you've got to decide in assignment football, who do I want the ball? That's a little bit of a problem, So we don't want Barkley to have it. Okay, now I'm going to force the quarterback to get it. I got someone for the quarterback. Now he's going to go to his third option with the pass. What on the pass? Who do I want to have it on the pass? Who can I tackle? Play over the top of A.J. Don't give him any deep balls. Make everything short in front of you and tackle well. These guys do a great job of running with the ball, but that's the starting point, and then get him into third down. That's your whole goal. Get a negative play on early downs, get him into third and long, show him pressure at the line of scrimmage, make the quarterback panic, and then, that's how you get
I am dying to see the tush push versus the Chiefs after what the Bills did, and they couldn't. This will be eye-opening. If they can't do it for some reason,
I think they'll still be able to do it.
I do too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that cost the Bills.
Yeah,
the
Chris
game.
Jones, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the problem with the Bills was, again,
They weren't pushing.
How predictable, but he went left.
And he was going left.
It's the thing with the
And
tush
it wasn't
push
a push either.
And it's the timing of the snap and the movement.
Yeah.
And it's almost like there was a pause waiting for the push and then
It was
go.
more like a traditional QB sneak when they were expecting it.
Yeah.
They weren't like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
I agree.
I think they're going to do some. There's going to be at least one fake
tush push
because they showed that. I can't remember.
They've done it a couple
the
times.
Packers.
They pitched out
and
to Saquon.
Yeah, or they throw it deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I was coaching Tampa Bay, our defense was great.
Great.
When we won, we had a great defense. Hall of Fame, Rondé Barber, Lynch, Sapp. They're Derek Brooks, 4 Hall of Famers. And Simeon should be a Hall of Famer. Watching the Eagles last year when you were there.
Yeah.
I was at the game in Tampa that you guys lost in the playoffs. The nickel corner, to me, is the hardest position to play, that slot corner. We couldn't play a game without Rondé Barber. We would not be able to win a game without him. This Cooper DeJean is a rookie.
Yeah.
He is an ass kicker in there.
Great football
And then
player.
number 27, the rookie
Quinyon
corner.
Mitchell, yeah.
I mean, he shut Terry McLaurin out.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Shut him out. 2 rookies.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about how that is impossible?
Yeah. No, I love these two guys coming out, even, just doing some work during last season, looking ahead for the draft for Howie. Those are two guys I love. Iowa tough with Cooper DeJean, right? Plus he's a returner, sure-handed guy. Just a, Coach Scarnecchia would used to say, ball-playing Jesse. That's what he'd call him. He was a ball-playing Jesse. And then Mitchell with Toledo, the biggest thing with him was, okay, the competition, how's he going to stack up? And then how's he going to do in press because he played so much quarters and off. But if you actually watched him, there's probably like a dozen snaps of him pressed. His footwork was elite line of scrimmage footwork, his length. So you're like, he's going to be able to do that. And I think when you look at the growth of their season, early in the year, guys trying to figure it out, but you knew the talent was there. And then Vic did a great job of putting him in a system where this is how they operate at the highest level. And then you got Carter, who's coming into his own inside.
Right.
Like Carter last year in practice one day, I mean, I'm telling you, it was like Richard Seymour back in the day. He ruined practice.
This makes me upset. Talking about Carter makes me upset. Because I don't want to hear that Howie Grossman or whatever was.
I said, yeah.
They're like, he was in a horrific accident and he fell.
For a reason.
Everyone knew he was the number 1 pick in the draft. So I don't want to hear he's a genius. Everyone knew he was good. They were the first team that said, we'll take
Let's
the
go.
risk
That's
with
right.
the baggage.
That's right.
Like, but let's not say he was a hidden gem. He was the number 1 pick going in before he had that incident.
Absolutely.
So
no one should say he's a hidden
No,
gem.
I don't like when he gets credit for that.
Just give him credit for being a good player. because he's a good player.
He's a great player, and they had in a PR world, and who knew what was going to go on because of a tragic accident. They said we're going to take a risk through this, which not a lot of owners may not let you make that pick. There's a lot of things that go into that particular pick, but he was, I think, the consensus one right before he fell. So we knew he was a game wrecker.
Yeah, and it's good to see him playing really well. You know,
he's great.
He's played dominant.
Great.
In front.
And that's an advantage situation. They never would have had. Like, that defense is very different without him in the middle.
Sure, yeah.
Well, can we give him credit for signing Zach Bond?
That's a great pick.
That's a great pick. Can we give him credit?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes, I only piped up with Jalen. That's the only one.
I mean, this guy, Howie Roseman, hell.
He's
What about Nolan Smith? There was a lot of.
Right.
That's another good pick.
How about Kobe Dean? I mean,
Kobe.
Well, I could have just gone down the Georgia roster.
Yeah, well.
hey, listen! Don't get it mistaken. Back in the day, we'd sit there and watch Florida play Alabama and be like, "There's more NFL football players in this one game than there is if we want to go look at 20 other schools. So why not take them?
Belichick.
That's what we did.
We were the Alabama pipeline.
Yeah, that's what we used to. We would literally. I remember one year it was Alabama versus Florida, and I was like, "There's just pick these teams."
Yeah.
You know what I see though in this Quinyon Mitchell, number 27.
Action, yeah.
I see length, Big Cat.
Yeah, you love
got
length.
Great length. Tell Patricia about length because he probably
he did all of our lengths at the office. I think I was his 0.
But tell our listeners
he just loves length.
When they say he's got great length, what are we saying?
It's their wingspan being bigger than their height.
Yes.
You just love it.
Yes. But you know what's great?
Frank the Tank had +1
he doesn't even know what you taught him. The most important piece right there, and we argue about this all the time. We get into the combine meetings, right? It's like arm length. I'm like, give me the wingspan.
Yeah.
Give me the wingspan because I don't care this. I want to know this.
Yeah.
And this is different when you're running downfield. I need all of this in those out-of-phase positions that the corners get into as opposed to just the arm length. Give me the wingspan.
Yeah, I learned that from Pat Riley, the great basketball coach.
Yeah, of course.
Matter of fact, I was in the bathroom at the Dick Vitale thing in Sarasota.
I love it.
I run into Pat Riley.
Love it.
He starts talking about...
That's a weird story.
Kind of
Talking
weird.
about length in the bathroom with Pat
That's why I'm
Riley.
bringing it up. I'm in the bathroom. And he's teaching me about length. I said, wait a second.
Just wash your hands.
So
man.
anyway,
Just wash your hands.
you measure yourself from pointer finger to pointer finger. And then you measure yourself from the top of your head to the bottom of your
What a
feet.
bathroom combo.
What if you're walking into the bathroom and the scene plays out and you're like,
Just like this.
I really want to shake everybody's hands in here, but I'm not shaking anybody's hands.
I know. I
at
went
all.
back to my table. I sit down. My wife says, where the hell you been? I said, I was in there talking to Pat Riley.
We're measuring length.
Yeah,
we were in the bathroom measuring length.
Yeah.
All right.
But the great NBA players have length, and so do the great corners.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't need a genius to tell me the great NBA players have length.
Well, I didn't know they define length like that. I mean, +6, +8. Some of these guys are Calvin Johnson's +11.
Yeah, he was freak.
I mean, that's length.
That's like
We'll run out of time. I got to ask you, Matt. I don't know. I have mine in my head. Any Patriot loss, pick one that sticks out. You're like, there's a couple obvious ones.
Yeah, I mean.
But mine isn't the obvious one.
Okay.
Mine isn't the 18-1 game. Mine's actually the three-peat game at Denver where the return, Ben Watson, that Patriot team, to me, was one of the best. Brady had a bad game, and he never has bad games. He didn't play great. That game sticks in my craw, and then 18-1 would be the second.
Yeah, 18-1 is brutal. I coached David Tyree in college. I don't think he made one catch in college.
Have you watched? When's the last time you've seen a replay of that play? I saw it like 2 days ago. I puked.
Yeah, I tried not. You know what? I was telling somebody the other day. I finally have just gotten to the point where I can open up the bin of Super Bowl stuff from that year because it just it hurt. That was.
You should have been sacked 4 times.
I mean,
8 holding
just
calls.
they're blowing the whistle. Like, what are we doing?
I really like the playoff exit against the Tennessee Titans. You remember when Derrick Henry was smashing his face on the goalpost there?
Yeah.
I think it was Tom's last game, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, we got crushed.
I go back and rewind that.
That one runs loop in your house all the time.
It is. I walk in, there it is. Derrick Henry gained a 12.
The 05 team that lost in Denver, that team was tough, but really one of our better teams was 06. That defense in 06, we were really good. We lost to Indy in the AFC Championship game in Indy. That's the one that
the 20-0 lead.
Yeah, because we would have beat the
that was
Chicago.
That was a 20-0 lead. Also, the team, to be honest, when Castle played, was
Yeah.
by the end of the season lights out.
That was fun. That was a crazy end of the year. That was some of the most bizarre weather games. It was 4 in a row. We had snow, rain,
Yep.
and then the wind in Buffalo. They literally had to hold the goalpost with chains in order for us to kick because the wind was like 60 miles an hour. I told all the DBs, I said, listen, from across the field, play the numbers in. They can't throw it. You couldn't throw the ball past the numbers. We just moved everybody in. We played 2/3 of the field. It was crazy.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming by.
Oh my gosh! Thanks for coming.
No.
Like,
Always good memories.
Great friends.
Everybody will be here next 2 days, 5 p.m. Frat House, Bourbon Street, Super Bowl week.
Tune in to Rat Race going live right now, and then we have the Skills Challenge right after.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.